Hey, wonderful people. Thank you for asking such smart and polite questions. So let's go through them straight into it. Mark Lynch. Good question, Mark. Will UAP revelations change people or even goats' lives? Yes, of course. It's a massive thing. That's almost my big point, is if any country really knows that we are not alone, China, Russia, France, United States, they can't keep it to themselves. It's a globally massive story, which makes it just impossible. I mean, we know people, we have family members who in the US State Department, they're super smart, they're very diplomatic. There's no way that the US would keep the big revelation that we are not alone in the universe to themselves. They're spending millions, billions on looking for single cell life on Mars. If they had an alien body in a crashed flying, well, it's just madness. Yes, there are crashed stuff from other countries. Yes, there's extraterrestrial material, but are there bodies in flying saucers, and are the US keeping it to themselves? No. Okay. Liam Winter, what was the first UFO story that you ever found compelling? I don't? No, I do. I'm really interested in the concept of UFOs, but the one that changed my mind absolutely categorically was Rendlesham Forest incident, because it's true. It really happened. I know personally now as a friend, U.S. Air Force Sergeant of Security John Burroughs. John Burroughs was injured. Let me just tell you one thing about Rendlesham Forest that makes it true. John Burroughs was injured by something highly unknown, something that other people saw and perceived differently, and we'll get on to that. John Burroughs tried to get health care. He was severely injured in his heart, his head, his eyes. He was a sick man. He entered the US Air Force as a fit dog handler, super fit guy. And after RFI, Rendlesham Forest incident, he was hurt. And it took 15 years of trying to get health care from the VA, the Veterans Association, or the Department of Defense, who denied his claim because it was classified. Eventually, when John Burroughs proved what happened to him was true, because the British MOD wrote about it, saying men were injured at a highly strange event in Rendlesham Forest, the Department of Defense immediately settled his claim. And the doctor, looking at his injuries, who knows by his injuries what he was exposed to, said there's only 3 people that he's ever seen medical records classified. And that is J.F. Kennedy's assassination, Adolf Hitler, and John Burroughs. So what are they hiding? And that makes it totally, that's evidence. It's not just me saying that. John Burroughs was injured in Rendlesham Forest by the highly strange. Good. Thanks very much. So Rory Woo Teep asks, when I lived in Machrihanish, did I see anything strange? No, I was a kid. The base was highly secret. I had my camera confiscated by security guards. But my dad, who worked there, my dad worked for the UK government, certainly knows that something strange went on. What he didn't say, and now that has been revealed, is not only did we kind of knew that US SEAL team of Marines were based there, but what I didn't know, and why he was so involved, and why we were even in Campbelltown, which is a rural, town of 8,000 to 10,000 people at the bottom of the Mull of Kintyre with a senior civil servant, is for a very interesting reason that I've only just figured out. And that is RAF Machrihanish, or NATO Machrihanish, MAC, is NATO's Import and Export Center. Importing strange stuff and exporting strange stuff in and out of Europe, and everything needs cleared. And although the RAF and the MOD and the US Air Force and NATO were involved, it had to go through British customs and immigration that my dad oversaw. So yeah, there's lots of weird stuff at Macrahanish that are still to be revealed. Okay, so Bradley Coulton. Hi, Bradley. Asked a really fun question. Who would be the 3 people I would like to invite to dinner? Well, that's really easy. Sitting down at my dinner table with Frank Whittle. Oh, Frank, what a joy. What a misunderstood and a man who was ignored because of his class and changed the world. Yeah, I'd love to talk to Frank and talk to him about how things have changed since he invented the jet engine. And of course, the second person is somebody that you might not have heard of, and he would be very difficult to have at a table, but he speaks French, so that would be interesting, and that would be the physicist Paul Dirac. Paul Dirac is the man. If you talk to any mathematician, physicist, and say, who do you really think is the best physicist in the world? They'll say Paul Dirac, and he's not a household name. Paul Dirac defined the modern world. Look him up. And the third person that I would be such an honor and fun to have at my dinner table, me, a 1970s punk, would be Debbie Harry. I've actually chatted to Debbie Harry. I did an interview with her in the 1970s. She was super nice and singer of the group Blondie. And just to catch up on CBGB's, the Ramones, and punk years would be absolutely joy for me, an aged punk rocker. So thanks, Bradley. Right, moving swiftly on. Gadzooks. Hi, Gad. Oh, yeah. Gad asks, I never answered whether if you were traveling at near the speed of light and you in a car and you switch your headlights on, would it illuminate the road ahead, or because you were so near the ultimate speed of light, nothing would emerge out of your headlight bulbs? No, they would appear like they illuminated the road in front. And that is for a really good bit of physics. Time and space are relative to your motion. So you wouldn't know that you were reaching an ultimate speed limit, and nor would light. The light leaving the headlights would zoom out the photons at the speed of light. Just because you were traveling near the speed of light wouldn't affect it. Now, for somebody observing your car from afar, from a stationary position, first of all, you would zip past, but say they could keep up with you visually, they would observe the light probably not coming out, but for you sitting in the car, your headlights would work normally. And that says a lot about relativity, which is really interesting. MarsMaple. Good question, Marge. Hi, Marge. Are US and other countries' defense contractors hiding stuff? Yeah, and that's such a simple question with such an interesting answer. After World War II, a lot of the defense contractors became enormous. Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, those kind of things, BAE Systems, Marconi, those kind of big, and others, Boeing, other people, because in a more liberal United States, they introduced the freedom of information for government secrets. So how do you hide flying saucers? How do you hide secret space and aviation projects? Or you give them to a private contractor, because private contractors don't have to answer freedom of information to government requests. So if you hive off your secret stuff to Lockheed Martin, they don't have to tell the members of the public. So it's a way of hiding stuff. And yeah, of course, Lockheed Skunk Works, secret stuff. Okay, CAG9DX. Will we get, because I want one, he says, a 1 megawatt personal power station soon? I hope not, which is an interesting answer. No. I think centralized, clean, transmitted power, hopefully too cheap to meter, would be the answer. I think one of the problems we have today is that we all have 100 horsepower SUVs burning our own stuff, making power, where we have, a generator in our house. Horrible things. The cleanest energy that we can have is from a power station, even a fossil fuel power station, because they can scrub and clean the gases. But no, I don't think we should have our own, even although we might like one. And I can't see in the foreseeable future there'll be anything small enough. I think it's smart to put solar, or if you're in a windy place, a wind turbine on your house, but I don't want 1 megabyte power station. BikerDan. Are UAP sightings the same as the sightings of UAPs seen in the ancient Christian Bible? Oh, I have no idea. But being more practical, yeah, probably. I think there's things that people see in the sky. But interestingly, people way back always interpreted what they saw in their context, in their cultural context. So they were angels, they were demons, they were dragons. And then later on they were zeppelins. And then in our century they were aluminum spacecraft. And now they're phenomenon. Are they the same? Very likely. So thanks, BikerDan. Mr. AdamAnt. Do people see different things when they see a UAP? Yeah, I wonder if you got that from me or Paul Devereaux. Yes. And I think the way that us bunnies, humans, perceive what we think is reality is very much, is quite different. I think we process the information in different ways. I think it's quite possible that changing a small angle of view on something might make it invisible or visible. I mean, Paul Devereaux says that people saw earth lights from one side of the road but didn't see them on the other, and I think that's a big explanation why things can be or might be invisible. Yeah. ArchangelReese. What was Cobra Mist? Oh, it's a big story. Cobra Mist was an over-the-horizon radar that was built in Europe on Orford Ness, lined up with the runway at Woodbridge. It was designed as a super modern computer-based long-distance radar that bounces radar beams off the ionosphere over maybe 500 to 4,000 miles. And of course, the signal that they get back from that bounce is just clutter. So what they're really looking for, they ignore the trees and the buildings and the mountains that you would see. They're looking for things that move. So Doppler shift and, fast things like an airplane would have a different Doppler shift to a slow thing like a ship, but they could recognize moving objects. And, it does work. There's a big one in the US, there's big ones all over the world. There's an enormous one in France, and it takes a lot of computing power. Why Cobra Mist, the one on Orford Ness, didn't work, I think, is a massive secret, and why they suddenly decided to not fix it but close it down almost overnight is another big secret. And I think it could be part of something that is associated with what happened at the Rendlesham Forest incident, because Cobra Mist is right next door to Rendlesham Forest. You've heard me say this before. East Suffolk. Rendlesham Forest. Why did that incident take place there? Down the road is Britain's Directed Energy and Radar Research Laboratory. Across from the runway is Britain's Research into Directed Energy and Atomic Weapons Test Facility at Orford Ness. up the road, powering it all, is Sizewell A, at the time nuclear power station, which powered all these exotic experiments. Just inland from Rendlesham Forest is Britain's biggest defence contractors computer centre, Martlesham Heath Cadastral House. If you draw a line between Bawdsey, Orford, Sizewell A and Martlesham Heath, it crosses in a bit of scrubby woodland called Rendlesham Forest. Is that a coincidence? No. But I'll go into that in more detail in a film. Yeah. Me money. Ha me. Are there other non-intelligences on Earth? Yeah. I've just been out to feed them. My goats are super non-intelligent, non-human beings. And I think we forget how intelligent every creature is on planet Earth. And we also forget that only humans build spaceships. Only humans build internal combustion engines. Our goats, our sheep, our chickens, our cats, our dogs, and all the other wonderful creatures we share Earth with want a clean Earth. They want clean air, a safe environment, good food to eat, and to sleep well at night. They don't want to do other things. We are the unique bunnies on this world. Bunnies eat carrots. We build atomic bombs. So I think we are we the most intelligent? I doubt it. Ask Wallace the goat. Okay. Is that it? Oh, no. Good question. Elijah Perrin. Hi, Elijah. Elijah has been a long-time viewer. Peace, man. Do you think we are actually living in a simulation? No, but yes. Yes, no, maybe, I think is the answer. I think the human brain is analogous to a computer. Everything that we see, we pattern match to what we think it is. So we see a brick that's a bit pointy, we say house, corner, without saying the rest of it. That's how we work. We look at tiny clues and we fit it into a brain pattern of things that we already know. That's why babies learn. And in some ways, we are living in our own simulation of our own reality. We're actually quite bad at looking at things that are completely unknown, or they're highly strange, can't be processed. So I think we're living more in a blinkered world of our own making, rather than a simulation driven by a future Elon Musk. No, I don't think so. Are there any more? Is the speed, honest G, is the speed of light the maximum things that people can travel at, that things can travel at? No, not at all. Things can travel way faster than the speed of light. But the speed of light is fixed. But I think people are confused by that, because the statement is fire engine, French fire engine. The speed of light is fixed, has a maximum velocity. Photons go at a maximum speed. Doesn't say other things can't. So no, things can definitely travel faster than the speed of light. There's lots of examples. I think that's it. Yeah, don't think that's a question. So, thank you very much for asking smart questions. I'm sure there's other ones coming in. I will compile them, and sometime in the future for you or for patrons, I'll answer them the best I can. So get on with your lives. Let's get the answers to UAP mystery very soon, because this is causing a lot of trouble. The truth is out there.